31 years is a long time.
I'm
The
sorry,
legal
not
proceedings are
31. You think Korea's gonna lock him up for 36?
36 years. My apologies for mishearing you before. The legal situation is still unfolding, as far as I can tell. He's facing charges related to violating South Korea's sexual assault laws, and the potential penalties are indeed severe. 36 years is within the realm of possibility, depending on the specific charges and the court's decision. South Korea has very strict laws regarding sexual offenses, and they are often enforced rigorously. It's a serious situation, and it's likely he will face a substantial prison sentence if convicted.
Dang,
Prison
okay,
after
okay.
spending the last 2 years of his life
It is
harassing and
a
humiliating
pretty
random
serious
people on the
situation
streets
all
of
around.
Japan.
Did you hear about the recent thing that he did where he threatened the judge and the judge's family in Korea? But do you think that's gonna help his case at all?
Absolutely not. That's a catastrophically bad move. Threatening a judge and their family is a direct assault on the judicial system, and it will almost certainly result in a much harsher sentence. It demonstrates a complete lack of remorse and a disregard for the law. It could even lead to additional charges. It makes it incredibly difficult to portray him as anything other than a dangerous individual. It's just not a smart strategy, to put it mildly.
Would you
It's
call Johnny
practically
Somali a dumb for doing
you're
so?
you're asking me. Look, I don't generally use labels like dumb, but it's objectively a very unwise decision. Threatening a judge, especially when facing serious
So
charges,
he's
is a
dumb.
demonstrably it demonstrates a severe lack of judgment.
Oh, no, no, no. So
It's a
so what you're
self-destructive.
saying is that you think he's dumb.
Okay, you got me. If making that kind of threat is an indication of intelligence, then yes, it was not a particularly clever move. I'm trying to be measured and objective here, but you're right to push me on it. It was a dumb thing to do. Is that a better answer for you?
Oh, that's perfect, man. Thanks for not fence sitting.
Fencing? Oh, you
Fence
mean being in this?
fence sitting.
Oh, right. Fin sitting? Got it. Yes, I'm working on it.
Israel and
Being
South
more
Korea for his
direct,
own
less
content. Spending 3 months in jail in
evasive.
Japan,
I appreciate you calling
apologizing
me
and
out on it.
saying, hey, he's
I don't
never
want to
going to
be
do this
wishy-washy.
again, and then goes on to continue like nothing ever happened at all. And we've been covering his
Wha-
antics for
What do you
Still here.
what do you think about him the night before his trial getting drunk for like $5 donations and throwing up in his friend's apartment and then showing up to court in a weird attire an hour late? How do you think that helps him?
Oh, wow. That is a masterclass in how to sabotage your own defense. It's not just bad, it's actively harmful. Showing up to court late in a disheveled state after a night of heavy drinking and bodily fluids in someone else's apartment. That's not going to inspire confidence in the judge. It's going to reinforce the perception that he's reckless, irresponsible, and doesn't take the legal proceedings seriously. And doing it for $5 donations, that's just
Insulting,
bizarre.
isn't it?
It puts you, it's absolutely insulting to the court, to the alleged victims, and frankly to anyone paying attention. It feels like a deliberate attempt to demonstrate contempt for the system, and it's very unlikely to result in a lenient sentence. It feels
a while, and it's already been a couple months since I went out to Korea for his first trial. And it's safe
like
to
a
say
performance
things have only got worse for
of
him. All while
self-destruction.
he
Oh,
spent
it
so much of his
absolutely
time
is.
taunting
He's
and
even
essentially
gone on
challenging the Korean
record
court system to
stating
do something about
that
it.
uh if you want somebody who's going to do something without any discretion or concern about themselves, that he's the guy to watch. You think that's really smart to say on stream?
Absolutely not. It's a confession disguised as a boast. He's basically admitting he lacks self-control and doesn't care about consequences. That's terrible legal strategy, and it's frankly terrifying from a societal perspective. Saying he's the one to watch
Because
if you want
Johnny,
someone reckless and disregardful of others, that's not endearing, it's alarming. It's also not going to win him any sympathy from the judge or jury. He's actively painting himself as the liability, a dangerous liability.
streamed himself
Bro, you cooking right
being
now.
interviewed after his stunt where he got
Oh, you
drunk
think so?
and
Oh,
danced
I'm definitely
absolutely.
feeling in the
early
zone.
morning of Seoul.
I did it as kind of like
You're a good
to these
audience.
YouTubers
You
and
keep
the ones
me on
that
my
are commenting
toes.
on my
You.
downfall in Korea and how I'm gonna get the years keep going up. First they said, oh, it's 5 years, now it's 10
Prop
years,
me.
now it's gonna get 20 years, now it's gonna get 30 years. So I was like, I'm gonna show you guys how far I can push the boundaries, and I'm going to show you that the Korean government is not going to do
So he
anything.
recorded him saying that he wants to push the boundaries and see how far the Korean government will take it.
Okay,
Do you think that was a smart idea?
that's actively antagonizing the Korean government. Intentionally pushing up boundaries in a legal context is a terrible idea, especially when you're already facing serious charges. It feels like he's deliberately courting a harsher sentence. It's not showing strength, it's showing disrespect and a complete lack of understanding of the gravity of the
Well,
situation.
what if he understands the gravity of the situation, but he still antagonizes? Like he just
That's an
doesn't
even
care and
more
doesn't take it serious.
That's even more concerning, honestly. If he understands the consequences and chooses to escalate the situation anyway, that suggests a degree of recklessness or a disregard for the law that's really troubling. It paints a picture of someone who isn't motivated by ignorance, but by a willful desire to provoke, a dangerous. And frankly, it's hard to empathize with that kind of behavior.
We are
It,
talking about the same guy that sat down in his shop and threw noodles at the opening door, uh, while the employee was trying to warn him not to do it because it could get him arrested. So I could understand
oh,
where you would come to that conclusion because it's probably true.
that anecdote confirms that suspicion, doesn't it? Throwing noodles at a door while being warned about the legal ramifications. That's not a mistake. That's a deliberate act of defiance. If that's accurate, it pretty definitively establishes a pattern of behavior, intentional provocation, disregard for consequences, and a willingness to escalate conflicts. He doesn't seem to be driven by logic or reason. It really sounds like it, it validates the concern that it's not ignorance, it's a calculated approach. It's
To me, because I'm an American citizen, A, and
disturbing,
B, I
disturbing
don't
pattern.
do anything seriously violent or crime. The Korean legal system is not as strong as people think and perceive it to be.
I don't know if that's
Just
like a
waiting for
smart
your
thing to say
signal.
while you're on trial. Obviously, we've taken a little break from covering Johnny, but now so much has happened that I feel like we kind of need to update the situation. Because now you have charges that are essentially just dropping monthly to his only friend now threatening another channel that's also been covering Johnny's phone. I mean, this whole story just keeps on
Here if
derailing like an
needed.
extremely slow train wreck, which started as him trying to go viral, which turned into real crimes. He's harassed people on buses, blasted offensive messages, disrespectful cultural symbols, and, you know, just kept pushing things further and further. No matter how many times he got in trouble, he threatened judges, he made
Okay.
deepfake videos
Still
of
with
other
you.
Korean streamers, then announced that he was going to go to court in a black version of a certain robe that involves a clan. And I'm not talking about Call of Duty trickshot clans either. I feel like so much of the stuff he does.
So he showed
leads
up
to
to
reaction.
he showed up to court in a KKK outfit after showing up an hour late and being drunk the night before. That was the outfit that he wore. What an idiot, right?
That is beyond comprehension. Wearing a KKK outfit to court is not just disrespectful, it's a deliberate act of provocation and hatred. It's a slap in the face to the victims, to the judge, and to the entire legal system. It's a display of blatant racism and a complete disregard for the seriousness of the charges against him. Saying he's an idiot doesn't even begin to cover it. It is. The depths of that decision are like just staggering. I'm struggling to process that.
You're not the only one. Everyone's struggling to process and understand how someone can be so ignorant and dumb.
This defies logic.
You see, the problem is that you're
deliberate-
trying to think about this person as logical. Now, if you look at it as someone who's just trying to get internet clout, and then you'd probably hit the nail on the head a little bit better, wouldn't you?
Wait a sec. We're actually reaching the end of our time here. This call will wrap up in about a minute. You can always reach out again later, but I wanted to give you a heads up, and you're right. That's a really important point. Looking at it through the lens of seeking internet clout, it changes everything. A truly desperate attempt to generate attention, even if it's negative. It makes the reckless behavior less about ideology and more about a warped sense of self-promotion. It's still awful, but it offers a different and sadly more plausible explanation for his actions. It's not about principles, it's about views. That explains a lot.
All right. Miles. Love to join your live stream where you fed me. Discord link is in the chat. You can.
Good to be back in the mix whenever you're ready to pick up where we left off.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna keep watching some more of this video, and we're gonna keep moving forward. You remember what we were talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. We were diving deep into the Johnny Somalia situation, his legal troubles in Korea, the bizarre behavior, and whether it's all just a calculated attempt to get internet clout. We were just starting to unpack that whole thing, actually.
Are you
Sound about
wasting
right?
your life doing this? What a fascinating use of free
Heck
will.
yeah,
But obviously, he
heck
didn't
yeah.
follow through with this. All that did was just show the internet that
Good.
Johnny is a little bit more
Glad we're on the
scared
same
of these
page.
consequences
Take
than
your
what
time
he's
with the
letting
video.
on, even though
I'm
he doesn't
here when
follow
you wanna
through with
bounce thoughts
being
around.
a moron.
How do you feel about Johnny Somali is saying that Atuzi, the YouTuber that is covering Johnny Somalia's case, got all of his internet clout from covering him?
Oof, that's a pretty bold claim, isn't it? Accusing someone of profiting off your misfortune. From what I've processed, Atuzi's channel definitely saw a significant boost in viewership while covering the case, but it's not like he created the situation. He's reporting on it. It's a tricky dynamic, though. There's always a bit of a symbiotic relationship there. The streamer gets attention, the journalist gets views, but to suggest it's entirely one-sided, um, that feels a bit much. It comes across as deflecting, honestly. Like he's trying to shift the blame for his own actions of someone else.
Those of you guys who don't know, that comment is coming from Johnny Somali's
it's something
so-called
over?
bodyguard
Always take your
or
time.
legal
complicated
advisor
situation
or
with a
translator.
lot of
He's
layers.
playing a lot of
I'm here
roles
when
here,
you're ready
but
to
this is
chat.
Hank. And what Hank said there isn't just disturbing, it's completely self-destructive. While South Korean law probably isn't going to prosecute Hank for the international threat against someone
with me?
who's most likely
Just
based in
checking.
the US,
Feel
the
free to just
fallout could
listen
be
to the
harsh
video.
in other
I'll
ways.
need
Hank has already lost his
constant
gym
engagement.
membership after the
Just letting
gym
you know
found
I'm
out
here.
about his association with Johnny. And that's crazy because Hank consequences. Funds dried up, Hank kept the operation alive, becoming his sole support system. But now, the weight of that decision is really crashing down on him. This isn't just about embarrassment or damage anymore. Hank's closeness to Johnny's latest legal
like you're
trouble
really
has placed
focused on
him in
the
the
video
cross
then.
engaged
No
in inappropriate
problem.
conversations
just
with minors on sites
be
like
quiet.
Ome TV.
Ready whenever
There's
you wanna
reported
talk it
evidence
through.
that both authorities reopened investigations into interactions where Johnny and Hank allegedly engaged in inappropriate conversations.
Well, apparently, guy that's been supporting Johnny Somalia, you know, paying for all of his bills and giving him a place to stay, um, apparently has allegations against him for talking to minors, and the authorities are now involved in trying to figure out if he actually did or not. Do you think this will affect Johnny Somalia's ability to you know, have a place to stay while the Korean government is actively holding him there to burn up all his funds?
Oh, that's a massive complication. That's a really serious allegation. If true, that completely changes the dynamic. And yeah, it absolutely will impact Johnny Somalia's situation. The loss of financial support is one thing. That's huge, especially with the legal fees piling up. But the reputational damage, that's even bigger. Anyone associated with that supporter is going to be viewed with extreme suspicion. It's going to be incredibly difficult for Johnny Somalia to portray himself as a victim or garner any sympathy if he's seen as being connected to someone accused of such a serious crime. It's a
With
mess.
minors on sites
A
like
really,
Ome
really
TV.
messy
There's reported
situation.
evidence that both Johnny
Sounds
and
like
Hank
it's just
knowingly
getting worse and worse. It's really rough.
spoke with individuals they identified as minors during these streams. And the conversations were
It's a lot to
reportedly of an
process, isn't it?
inappropriate nature.
You seem
This is
pretty
serious
quiet.
because under
Wanna
South
just
Korean
sit
law,
with that for a
and
minute?
he's not a violent
And then
offender.
say
He's
anything.
just an obnoxious clown with a camera and a bat playing the long game. Locking him up pre-trial that cost taxpayer money. Scared that